In this section, 2.6, we are going to use trig ratios to solve right triangles. And what I want you to note is that we've never used the language solve right triangles before. And to solve a right triangle means at the end of each question, you will know the lengths of all three sides and the size of all three angles. And to help you do this, you're going to use our sine ratio formula, our cosine formula, our tan formula, the Pythagorean theorem, and the fact that all three angles in a triangle always add to 180. So our first example is to solve the following triangle. And there's some steps here on the side that you can read to help you along as you're doing your work. You're going to find side lengths to the nearest tenth, which means 1 decimal, remember, and angles to the nearest degree, which means no decimals. So when you're doing these questions, there's more than one way to do it, and you just need to begin by deciding what you're going to find first. And I'm deciding to find angle D first, and that's just by choice. You could do something else if you wanted. So the first thing I want to do is label my triangle from where I'm standing. Again, this is my hypotenuse. This is my opposite side. This is my adjacent side. And then to help me decide which formula I'm going to use, on the side I'm going to write down the 2 pieces of information that I know. You'll always be given 2 pieces. So I know a 9, and I know a 5, and I'm going to look for something to begin with. The 9 is my opposite, the 5 is my adjacent, and what I'm looking for is angle D. You need to look for a formula on the top that has an opposite, an adjacent, and an angle. And over here, notice I have these 3 as well, and it looks to me like I'm looking at tangent. So I'm going to write down that formula. Tan of A is equal to opposite over adjacent, and then I'm going to fill in my formula. In this case, it's not going to be called A anymore, it's going to be called tan of D. The opposite side is 9, and the adjacent is 5. Your next step is to then divide 9 and 5. And again, this is the point where you really want to have this to 3 decimal places. Now remember, if you have a letter beside the word tan, or sine, or cos, that's when you hit your shift button in your calculator. And when you hit the shift button in the calculator, you're going to end up with an answer of 60.945. And what I want you to realize, as soon as you ever hit the sine or the cos or the tan button, with or without the shift, that word, sine, cos, or tan, is gone, and you are left with just the D. And in fact, remember that that D is an angle D. Now, we were asked to round to the nearest degree, which means I actually want to get rid of all of these decimals. The one that you're getting rid of, first of all, is the 9. Remember, if he's 5 or bigger, he bumps up the guy that's left by 1. So in this case, my angle D is going to turn into 61 degrees when I round. So that's the first thing I found. Now I know how big angle D is. Now, going over here, after you've used sine or cos or tan, generally speaking, you are going to use step 6 or step 7. You're going to find the third side by using the Pythagorean theorem, and you're going to use to find the third angle, you're going to use the 180 degree rule. I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. And the Pythagorean theorem says that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And what you want to remember is that c is always your hypotenuse. The a and b can be either or. So I'm going to let the a be 5 squared, the b be 9 squared, and the c I don't know. That's going to be 25 plus 81 is equal to c squared. And when I add those together, I'm going to get 106 is equal to c squared. Now your job is to get the c by itself, and right now it's a square. The only way to get the c by itself now is to actually square root it. Square rooting c squared leaves you with a c, and 106 to the nearest tenth is 10.3. I've asked you to circle all your answers so you know where the final answer is. Now, we need to find the third angle, and that third angle is angle F. And angle F can be found by taking 180 degrees, subtracting 90, which is in this corner, and then subtracting 61, which is in this corner. When we do that, we get angle F is equal to 29 degrees. Now the last step that I'm asking you to do is to quickly redraw the triangle, and I want you to ensure that you have found everything. Do you have all three angles? Well, this one's 90, this one's 61, and this one's 29, and those are degrees. And I know that this is 5, and this is 9, and we found the hypotenuse to be 10.3. I have all three angles, I have all three sides. I'm done this particular question, except we can't see it. There we go.